afternoon, folks, and welcome to Irish Media Network Sports Update. I'm your host, Joe Caulfield, and Happy New Year to you. It is January 2021, and for the first time in a long time, we have the potential of a real title race in the Premier League. Joining me today to chat all about it is Andy Hampson. Andy, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Joe. My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Can you feel it in the air, Andy? Can you feel that the soccer gods kicking us into a title race?
Oh yeah, it's very exciting, isn't it? At the moment, you look at the table, so many teams up there in contention for it. Really, it's great. As you say, we've not had such a close title race for a while now. It was a Liverpool run away with it last season, and we obviously we had that great race a couple of years ago, but it was just Liverpool and Manchester City in it, and before that we had City running away with it. So it's great to see so many teams in there, and yeah, it's very exciting. Yeah, enjoying it massively.
Absolutely, as you say. So like Liverpool, 33 points, United, 33 points, Leicester, 32 points. United have a game in hand. Between 4th and 7th, they're all pretty much on 29. If you had to put your house in it right now with half a season to play, Andy Hampson, who wins the title 2021?
I hope you're not going to hold me to this, but if I had to make a prediction, I'd probably go with Manchester City, simply because we saw 3 years ago just how good they were when they were absolutely outstanding. They had that 100-point season, and then they maintained those standards pretty much the following year when they won the treble. Obviously, Liverpool nearly matched them, but they were absolutely brilliant. So we know how good they are. Then I think last season, just because Guardiola is so demanding of his players, he gets them wound up to, he's so intense. He gets them to produce at such a high level. I think naturally there was going to be a drop-off at some point, and we saw that last season. And I think similarly with Liverpool, they've had 2 outstanding seasons, winning the Champions League and then winning the Premier League. I think maybe they're experiencing a little bit of a drop-off now. I just think what we've seen from City lately, although obviously they had a sluggish start to the season, it took them a while to get the show on the road. They're just starting to build that momentum now, and I think they're heading back towards something close to their best, and I think they could well be the team to watch now. Obviously, there are other teams in there. We've seen Manchester United have a great run of form. And, the confidence that must be going through their squad now must be sky high, because they really have some good results. It's unexpected that they'd be there, they'd be up there, yeah. but they are. But I have to say, they don't entirely convince me. They've done well, but, they've had a deflected last-minute winner against Wolves. There was a game against Leicester that they drew that could have gone either way. They've had some penalties that on another day may not have been given. They had a great goal against West Ham, admittedly scored by Paul Pogba. But, as David Moyes said, that ball flew over his head. It swerved out of play and went back in. So, while the results are going for them at the moment, only a month ago we were talking maybe Solskjaer was his job was under threat.
Absolutely,
things can turn around quickly. This season we've seen Tottenham go top of the table and then hit a little bad spell. We've seen Liverpool go top of the table, then have a little bit bad spell. Leicester were top earlier on. Everton had a great start. They've slipped away. So, this could happen to United quite easily next. But then again, I don't think United are the best team. But then again, it may not be the kind of season when the best team necessarily wins, and that could also play into Jose Mourinho's hands. It could play into Leicester's hands. We've seen them spring a surprise before. You could probably extend that theory to Everton or Southampton, although I don't think they've probably got the quality. And Chelsea maybe, but I think really City are going to be the team to watch.
So just to kind of talk to develop that a bit further. So a lot of what my reading of this is on form. So Liverpool seem to be hitting a bad patch of form at the wrong time when City are hitting a good patch of form. So City have between now, so they play Liverpool on the 6th of February, and between now and then they have 6 games. Look, you can never count anyone out in the Premier League, but 6 games they could potentially win them all. If they were to do that and they go to Anfield on the 6th of February and they win, does that catapult them into the lead and will they be unstoppable? Would that run enable them to clinch the title with the experience they have of doing so in the past?
Well, you'd have to say it could go a long way. Yeah, I mean, like you have looked at the next few fixtures, looking at them now, they've got Brighton, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, West Brom, Sheffield United and Burnley. So as you say, they could win all those games and then they face Liverpool. And if they were to win that, I mean, they really could be building unstoppable momentum by then. And you'd have to say, the experience they've got of being in this position and the way they not just winning the Premier League, winning other trophies as well. They could well close it out. So yeah, they really are building up that head of steam now, and we'll just have to see what happens in the next few weeks, though, because obviously, they've got this little bit of an issue with COVID at the moment. There's been an outbreak at the club that could affect them. They're going to be without a few players in the next couple of weeks, but you could say that could affect any team at any time.
So that's kind of very unpredictable.
It's hard to factor it in, but it is an issue at the moment, certainly. But yeah, I'd say given their experience and with Guardiola's utter 100% determination to win everything and his intensity, that would make them the favourites. Yeah.
So you're picking City for the league. Talk to me about Liverpool. I found it very, very interesting. So Liverpool lose to Southampton on Monday night. Now, granted, there was 2 penalty shouts that they weren't given, but I thought it was bizarre that Klopp comes out of the blue and he says, I'm told that United have been awarded more penalties in 2 years under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer than Liverpool have under me in 5.5 years. Bringing United into the conversation like that, is that gamesmanship with a view to the 17th playing United at home, or is it a statement on his mindset at the moment that he might be creaking under the pressure a little bit?
Well, I mean, it could be a little bit of both, really. Personally, I've always thought the way Klopp's come across, and Pep Guardiola as well, the way they talk mind games has never really been something they've gone in for. They've almost been above that. It's not been their mentality. The German, Spanish games that they used to, they just don't seem to get involved in that much. But that said, that there was a little bit of needle between Klopp and Guardiola towards the end of last season, and that might be creeping in a bit here, really. I mean, it's hard not to draw the conclusion that there's some sort of ulterior motive. I mean, he has got a point when you look at the stats. Liverpool have had 30 penalties in the Premier League since Klopp took charge 5.5 years ago, and United have had 32 since the beginning of the 2018-19 season. So there is a bit of a point there. But then again, Leicester also have had a lot of penalties in that period. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he's mentioning the number of penalties United are getting just 2 weeks before they play them, I think, he's definitely putting it out there. And Solskjaer may have a point that he's putting that little seed of doubt in the referee's mind. Although I think frustration has potentially been building with Klopp this season. A lot of decisions do seem to have gone against them. But people may say, well, what goes around comes around. You had a lot in your favour last season, but if you think back to the Merseyside derby, there was a potential late winner disallowed when no matter how many times you look at the freeze frame, it's still hard to see where the offside was. I mean, we're talking millimetres. There was a draw against Brighton when every marginal decision seemed to go in Brighton's favour. So I think frustration has built with him, really, and then not getting the penalties the other night, he's just let that frustration show a bit. But Liverpool, I'm not surprised things are starting to catch up with them a little bit. As I was saying with City earlier, they've been playing at such a high standard for 2 or 3 seasons now. It was inevitable there was going to be a little bit of a drop-off. And they've had so many injuries as well. I think they're just kind of taking their toll. I think the signing of Diego Jota was a good one because that brought an injection of freshness and quality into their forward line, something that they needed. They need a little bit of backup in case many of their big front three did fall off a little bit. But then to lose him to injury as well, I think has robbed them of a bit of vitality, perhaps more so than losing Virgil van Dijk has done. And I think it's starting to show, and they look like they're running on empty a little bit, to be honest, the other night. And it would not surprise me if Klopp rests most of his big guns for the FA Cup this weekend, gives them a bit of a breather, hopes they can come back when the Premier League resumes in a couple of weeks' time. And this is obviously a period when United are playing a League Cup semi-final. They've also got a game in hand to make up in the Premier League against Burnley as well next week before they play Liverpool. So that Liverpool might go into that game a little bit fresher.
Let's talk about United just before, because we've analysed the runners and riders now. City are going to win. Liverpool probably don't have enough in it, according to yourself. But United, can they win it? And if, I know tonight's game against City has no bearing on the Premier League practically, but psychologically, if United are to actually go on this unbelievable run, do the unthinkable, win the Premier League since the first time since the Ferguson era, is tonight important psychologically to give them that encouragement and confidence that they can beat the teams that are their rivals for the title?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a very good point. I think, yeah, tonight taking the League Cup out of it, just playing City and beating City would give them a massive confidence boost. Looking ahead, you could apply the same if they were to lose. I mean, perhaps if it was just 1-0, 2-1, that wouldn't be too bad. But if City go out and play as well as they can do and win convincingly tonight, that could have a seriously negative impact on United. And the confidence could take a hit, the doubts could start to creep back in, and like we've seen with Chelsea, one bad result can lead to another, and then confidence drops, and then you start to fall down the table. Questions start getting asked again. I said, looking at it the other way, if United were to win, go through to a Wembley final after losing 3 semi-finals last season, it would be the huge lift Solskjaer needs to try to keep. Take the next step in his reign. He wants to get things up and running now. He's had some hard times. He's had some good runs as well. But reaching a Wembley final would add a bit more substance to that. And you think it would give him a nice fillip to look into the remainder of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I really appreciate. Look, I love talking about this at this time of the year because there's so many permutations as to what could happen in 3 weeks' time when United play Liverpool. The story could be completely changed because the landscape could have changed. But right now, let's just enjoy thinking about it and talking about it and really appreciate that we have a title race on again. And thank you so much for joining me on the show to talk about it.
Okay, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.